Welcome to the Pixel Retentive Podcast, where we, a business owner and an artist, discuss the business of art and the art of business. Hey friends, I'm Carl, founder of Epic Made.
And I'm Ross, creative director at Epic Made. And we're the hosts of the Pixel Retentive Podcast, where we share our thoughts on creativity, art, and business. Past guests include Lee Sean Hang?
Lee Sean Hang.
I don't know why I put that in there without being able to say his name.
Let's go.
Co-founder of FUSA. Co-founder of FUSA. Ruth Newberry, founder of Cream Studio. And Lizzie Mintis, founder of Here's Waldo.
We are forever grateful for the supporters of our podcast, and we're always looking for more sponsors. That said, Pixel Retentive is brought to you by the creative gurus at Epic Made. Epic Made is a team of strategists and artists who excel in visual storytelling. Our studio crafts unforgettable animations and illustrations that not only captivate your audience, but also drive tangible business results. We specialize in engaging imaginative, pop culture savvy audiences with beloved clients like Nickelodeon, WWE, and Sci-Fi. Visit getepicmade.com and let's collaborate on your next creative campaign.
With us today, we have Mackenzie Jackson, or Mac Jack for short. Mackenzie is the CEO and co-founder of Alliance Studios, a leading studio in the Fortnite Creative and UEFN scene. Alliance Studios has worked with many commercial clients, Epic Games, and collaborated with many communities on plenty of experiences, including recently Prime Hydration, McDonald's, MasterCard, Kid Leroy's Wildest Dreams, Samsung, AT&T, Adidas, Doritos, Maybelline, Coachella, and more. Welcome, Mackenzie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, super grateful to have you. Man, that's quite a lineup of cool stuff you brought into Fortnite. So definitely excited to chat about that some. So
yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the McDonald's stuff is really cool.
Yeah, I saw that come out. And I was thinking, like, we should have been on this project. This is like exactly what my studio would have done. We were in the wrong place at the wrong time. But anyways, it's really cool.
That's
they
amazing.
did it well. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. There's so many aspects to it. It's so cool.
Definitely. So before we jump into today's topic, we want our audience to get to know you a little bit. Can you tell us how long you've been in your industry and what project you're most proud of so far?
Yeah, I actually started, it's funny because like I would say my industry is gaming. So I've been a gamer my whole life. But I started creating in Fortnite the first day it came out back in 2018. And then we founded Alliance in 2019 and grew from there. So from the very beginning, early days of Fortnite Creative, we've been here and building up our space. And yeah, it's been a wild journey.
Heck yeah.
Awesome.
And that more or less brings us to the topic of today's video, which is more or less discussing that journey, discussing the Unreal Engine Fortnite creator. And,
which is the UEFN that was mentioned in the intro, by the way,
Yes.
for those of you who don't know. So,
yep. And what exactly does that stand for, Mackenzie?
It's Unreal Editor for Fortnite. So basically, it's UE5 is what most people know or they think of. If you're in game dev, you're building it on UE5 Unreal Engine, and it's kind of like an intro into. So it's basically everything with UE5, but some of the aspects of it taken away to kind of handhold new creators and new developers into the space and give them the tools to then directly publish within Fortnite instead of publishing through like the Epic Games store or through Steam engine. It's all through Fortnite with the UEFN.
And what kind of stuff could you create?
sorry.
Say that one more time.
What kind of stuff could you create, like for Fortnite specifically?
You can create whatever you want. I mean, they obviously have some rules. They're like, you have to follow a certain age rating. So unfortunately, you couldn't go like crazy into like gore, but you can create anything you desire. You can go in and build something just really simple and fun for yourself, or you can go insane into detail and build massive worlds that look nothing like Fortnite. It's really powerful, the tools that they're allowing us to use now in this space to create whatever you want.
Very
Cool.
Good.
Oh yeah, I mean, so for those that don't know, Epic Games makes Unreal Engine. It sounds like this is a subset of Unreal Engine that kind of makes it work into the Fortnite space. And then you can, in Fortnite, instead of going into like Battle Royale or any of their normal modes, you can pick this creative mode where people like you and your company will create their own maps and their own like mini games. It's not too dissimilar from what, I think was really created by Warcraft and Blizzard back in the day, where they had their map creator and you could build your own sub games within these things. And that whole genre kind of spun up out of this, at least in my mind. Also having been a gamer my whole life, that's the first time I remember really seeing a robust community of that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, they're like Mario Maker and things like that. I guess we're seeing a lot more of them crop up, but this is obviously on an incredibly large scale, considering it uses Unreal Engine as the main basis, and it's a closer analog to actually developing games rather than building in like a Sims caliber sort of system.
And there's a way, so I would compare it to Roblox or even like a YouTube creator. So you're able to monetize as a developer creator whatever you're making. If it gets enough eyes, Epic is giving 40% of their revenue up to all of the games that are within their discovery menu. So when you open up Fortnite now, it's like Netflix. You open up, there's thousands of games that you can play, and all of those games were made by thousands of creators or teams like myself and my team, and you can go and play them, and they are constantly rotating and changing, and new things are coming in. And then as a developer creator, if your game is doing really well and performing well, then you're able to get some earnings from their creator system, similar to like a YouTube creator profile.
Nice. And so what are some of the things that Alliance Studios has done in that scene?
Oh, we have done so much. We've released probably over 150 games. I would say our most notable, we just recently pushed out Coachella Island and worked with them. We did the Prime Hydration Red versus Blue. So that one, it went crazy with Logan Paul and KSI. And then the McDonald's anime Tycoon that we put in and had built was super, super fun, and it got us creating, just it just allowed us to get to push even more than what we were creating ourselves. So, but we're constantly pushing out games on a regular basis. I feel like at this point we're working on, I think we've got like 15 projects that are in development right now as a team. We're a team of 14, and there's 15 projects that we're doing, some that are branded with our partners and some that are our own IP and ideas that we're just constantly testing the waters in.
Nice.
So it's pretty amazing.
And just to be clear, like you're basically either getting approached or going out and approaching like McDonald's or Logan Paul, and you're sort of want to work with them specifically to then have like a sponsored game or a thematically appropriate game with their licensing permission, I assume.
Yeah, we work with a lot of marketing agencies and partners that bring us a lot of deals for people that are trying to grow their gaming presence, and brands that are looking to become more new age and get into the metaverse. And so a lot of them are through marketing agencies. Some of them are just brands themselves that are reaching out to us. And then a lot of the times it is influencers too that reach out with opportunities. We're really excited this next year. We've got some strategy at my company to hopefully do some outreach and some strategic partnerships on our end on some ideas that we really think would succeed in this space by reaching out to those specific IPs. But yeah, we're working with so many different avenues that it's just like constantly changing and evolving as years go on.
Yes. Dude, it sounds really cool. So, there's something magical here that Fortnite and Epic Games specifically has done here, that like they've taken it sounds like some of the complexity out of trying to make your own game from scratch, and even dialed it in further past just how they did that with Unreal Engine. And now, you, for instance, were able to build this. I assume the first project you started were just like you having fun and like, oh, look, there's a map builder thing. Let's do this. Let's talk about how you took something that was just a fun experimental thing in a game that you thought was cool, and then how you've grown that into now a business with, you said 14 people, and like working with brands the list of brands you have, everyone has heard of, right? So like,
Yeah.
that's really an accomplishment and crazy powerful, especially considering you started in 2018 with this, you said?
Yeah.
I'd love to get into that, a little bit of that journey, like where you started and then maybe the first tipping point stuff. I think that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, no, so like I said, I was a gamer. Fortnite really attracted me because it was a free to play game. And so my brothers and I did not have to spend $60 on this disc each to play it together. And so we were immediately attracted to this free game. And so season 1 of Fortnite Battle Royale we were playing. And when they released the trailer for their creative mode, I just was super excited. I had love doing creative things. I love Sims and building and just getting excited. And for me, it was like, what can I go in and make to show off to my friends? It was all about just having fun and gaming with my friends. And then it slowly turned into, I'm getting money for this. How? Like, what is happening here? And then I upgraded my setup with my first paycheck. And I just slowly started making more decisions. I reached out to an influencer and was like, hey, I created this map. Would you want to play it on your stream? And that got me more of an audience. And then working with that influencer led to the company that he was a part of reaching out to me and saying, hey, like, would you be open to doing this? And I'm collaborating with them and figuring out like where we can grow and what we can do and what opportunities. And Epic eventually reached out to me in 2019 and flew me down to their headquarters. And I spent 3 weeks at Epic's headquarters and built one of their welcome hubs when they introduced a new initiative for all their creators. And Tim's goal has been growing this creator community and really investing a lot into the creator side of what Fortnite's becoming. And it's really exciting to see like how much investment they put into a lot of the creators in the early days. And now it's just like exploded. I mean, I come from, there were a handful of us creators in the early, and so we all knew each other really well and built this really strong knit creative community. We helped each other. We play tested each other's maps. We gave feedback. We really built our skill sets up. Just coming from gaming and loving creating and then realizing you can make an income off of it. And then for me, I, being an adult, having all these bills and responsibilities, I was like, well, like, how can I actually make this a job? Like, how can I make this a sustainable career? And so I heavily focused in on the brand side and what we could do to get brands into this space. So we were the first team to bring in any commercial client into Fortnite. And then it's been trying to figure out how I can get more brands and sponsors into this space to help create more secure jobs for other artists that were doing, 9-to-5 jobs like I used to do that I hated. And so for me, I loved creating and gaming and just, I'm so passionate about it. This for me was like, I love it. Then this opportunity came, and now my goal is how can I sustain it and how can I bring more job opportunities for all the other incredible creators out there who are deserving, of also being able to follow their dreams in this kind of a space. It's been so wild, and I've had so many roller coasters, and it still has so much growth that it needs to happen because there's a lot of ups and downs in it. But it's been just working hard and just staying true to myself and creating and gaming, having fun gaming with friends,
I love it. Hey, Mackenzie, there's a little feedback on your mic. Can we try to reset that somehow? Or
yeah,
it was fine for earlier, and I don't know what happened. So you've got some wonderful AI Adobe editing tools now that will help with that a bit. So hopefully,
that's good.
Hopefully we're going to scrub that pretty good. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but I just want to see if we can get ahead of it.
Try that.
All right, let's see. Yeah, it sounded a little better.
Is that better? Better there?
A little bit. Yeah, a little better. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's go with it. Cool.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, no, it's all good. That's a heck of a journey there. So you guys were the first team to bring in a commercial client, like outside of like Fortnite proper, because like their whole brand is built around like collaborations with other brands,
Exactly.
which I mean, I think maybe the only person that does it, the only company that does it better than Fortnite is maybe Lego, right? Like, it's been quite amazing. I can't think of I've mentioned this on the podcast a few times, but it's like how many other IPs can you go? There's no other spaces where you can find Marvel and DC, like conflicting IPs that will never coexist ever, like battling with machine guns. Like, it's like,
it's so impressive, right? It's so impressive.
Right next to Family Guy.
Right next to Family Guy, and then some other random off-market IP that like no one even heard of. They're like this random like stuff, like they'll release their own little characters. Like there was like this forest creature one time. Like I love like tree people and tree ants and all that. So I was like, oh, I gotta get this little skin. I was like, wait a minute, like they got me.
I love it. I mean, they're breaking the norm too. They allowed cross-platform before anyone was allowing cross-platform. You used to not be able to play with your friends who had a PlayStation 4 and you had an Xbox. It just didn't work. And that they were the first people to like get that happening. And
so the street war on that is great. They did it on accident. Have you ever heard this? Yeah. Well, we flipped it on accident, and then everyone liked it. And now PlayStation, are you going to be the dicks that says we can't do this? Because everyone knows it works now. So yeah, you guys got to come out and go, hey, we're not cool with this. Like, so,
right.
And then they broke it. So good for them, because that was really ridiculous, right? Like this cross-platform, cross-play is absolutely essential, because it boils back to the things that you were talking about too. It's like, if I want to pay $60 for this game, I'm going to be able to play with anybody, right? It's like,
yep,
that's a really frustrating space, especially when you're going out like everybody's got to buy a copy of the game. And then the fact that they broke the mold on the other side with the free-to-play, the cosmetic skins model that no one thought was going to work. Like everyone told them this is a bad idea, and now they're I think they're still one of the most, if not the most successful game on the planet. So in terms of,
I'm blown away with like their business model. I've just watched and been a part of it since first season of Battle Royale, and I'm so impressed by like how much they've impacted. Like, it's crazy. The free to play, the live events, the bringing these massive artists into Fortnite, so these players can attend concerts that they'd never be able to attend in real life because they couldn't afford it or whatever their circumstances are. They're bringing community and together through this video game, and it's turning into something way bigger than many people even imagine. And it's really inspiring for me, and I could talk about it for days.
I love it. I mean,
it's evolved way past the game it was. Like, it's evolved way past the rules of the game, right? Like, when you look at like a Call of Duty or Battlefront, any sort of competitive game, Tekken, whatever, the game usually sits within its own ecosystem, right? Its own rules. But Fortnite has that, and the brand itself is kind of pushing a community first. It's kind of like a Minecraft or like a
Roblox.
Roblox, I guess. I don't have as much experience with Roblox. But yeah, I mean, it's
only a few months old. Wait till it gets a little older. You'll know
right.
Roblox.
But I mean, the focus on bringing people together and doing things that focus in on pop culture and in community and things that have nothing to do with the game at all expands it from being a video game to it being closer to a social media platform.
Yep.
Which I think is a really interesting position for a video game to be in. I think that some of the things that Carl and I have been talking about, and some of the things that we've been seeing, especially with Web3 and NFTs and things like that on the rise, and games shifting more toward utilizing influencers not just to promote the game, but to physically bring their communities to it. We're seeing a lot more willingness to give people what they actually want to see, even if it doesn't necessarily align with the original business plan that you were thinking of for the game.
it's something we always talk about too. This is a pure shift of like, our generation, right? Like I'm about to turn 40, but like, I don't know, I'd say anywhere from like early 30s to on. Like, we're just sick of being marketed to. And the younger generations are just like, don't send me an ad and buy my shit. Like no one to buy your shit from that. Like that's not how we purchase things anymore. We want to be involved in an experience and feel included in a community. And then if there's things there in that community that seem to be cool, that fit with our, model of life and how we see ourselves, then we purchase and make decisions off of that. Right. Yep. This is totally building in that same ecosystem and offering these new approaches to community building. And we're seeing this be successful in different avenues all over marketing. This is a huge pivot of consciousness, and they're early adopters and even trendsetters in the space, right? Like, which is pretty amazing. I mean, I went and saw, Fortnite was basically like, we went hardcore into it over when COVID hit. My kid was, coming out of second or third grade. What was it, 4 years ago? A second, third grade time frame. And I remember just like, he's like, Dad, Travis Scott's having a concert. And I'm like, well, I didn't even know who Travis Scott was because I listen to like Bob Marley and Enya and like lo-fi. Like those are my vibes, Maybe like some raging 90s. Maybe some like raging 90s alternative rock if I'm like, trying to go for like a crazy run or workout. But my breadth of music's not very wide. So anyways, I get in this thing and we jump in and we're like, I was like, what do we mean there's a concert in Fortnite? I was totally confused. I was like, what? I don't understand what's going on here. But lo and behold, like I get thrown into a little group. We got my kid there and some other little kid and like somewhere in Europe. And like, he's like, man, Travis Scott's amazing. This is amazing. So I'm like hanging out with some child across the planet. And we're watching a Travis Scott concert. And we're flying through the cosmos in crazy colors.
Right?
Giant Travis Scott. And I was like, this is fucking cool. Like I was legit having a good time. I totally had no idea what to expect. I was like, wow, they're breaking boundaries here. Like doing
100%.
really next level shit. Like that was like really well designed with crazy talented artists coming together to produce this crazy talented musicians' music in a way that had never been consumed before in a time that we needed a revolution on the way that we consume things because you can't go to a concert in person. And the whole thing was really cool to me. Like, very, very impressed and proud to have been a lifelong gamer at the time, seeing like this is where the world's coalescing around what used to be ostracized nerd culture, right? It's starting to go, it's crazy. Like I remember when people first started texting and like I was a hardcore old school MMO RPG player. Like we're doing raids, we're doing like on a 56K dial up on EverQuest 1, right? So like we all the BRB and LOL and JFK and all the AFK and JK, sorry. All these like little acronyms and like no one knew what that was until gamers established it, and then we started using it in text language, and then everyone's texting now because this was pre-text messages, right? So it's just interesting to see all this fringe culture from like when I was a tiny kid now all becoming more and more and more and more mainstream. Now it's like comic book heroes and all that sort of stuff. Like if you were into Spider-Man, you were a dorky, nerdy kid. No one liked you. Like
it's
like,
so wild.
And now
I hid from everyone that I was a gamer growing up. Like it was not a cool thing, especially as a female. I mean, it was even less of a cool thing. I loved Call of Duty with my brothers. I mean, I played Destiny. I was all kinds of games, but I hid it everywhere. And now it's cool. But I really think I believe it's the social media that's changed it and made it cool. The influencer strategy that's happened. I mean, which it's amazing the opportunity that's opened up for the average player, right? You can be a player and now make an income being a player, right? That wasn't a thing when I was younger. I didn't know of streaming. I didn't know of Twitch or YouTube streams. Like that was not normal. I met with my friends and couched gamed that's what we did, and the games were on discs that you had to pay so much money for, and there weren't updates to those games. You weren't waiting for a new season to come out. It was a completely different culture than what it is now, and there's some sadness in that and some nostalgia that like I wish we could get a little bit back in some of the old ways of gaming, but ultimately like the player is now voicing what they want, right? And becoming the creator themselves too at times. We as players, now I've got the tools and I can make the game how I want to make it, and they're going to do that, and they're going to make it fast, and it's evolving so much now. Gaming is crazy to me, like just seeing the changes it's made in this industry.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that you were big into Sims, and I think that's also another game culture that like massive creator driven economy. Like you look at like YouTubers like James Turner and Vixella, and like the people who like they get approached by EA to not just advertise like upcoming stuff, but to build inside of it.
Yeah.
Like I know James Turner's built some stuff inside of Sims for their expansions and things like that. That stuff just what people didn't have faith in video game players like that until like the last maybe even 5 years, maybe 10. But I mean, I think that YouTube changed that a lot, where we were all able to kind of watch people play games and get to know them simultaneously, and you get to see how intelligent people are while playing games, that you don't necessarily need the skill set as long as you don't need the coding skill set and the modeling skill set as long as the platform itself provides solutions for those things, like the Unreal Editor. You're able to then access people's creativity, and you're able to access people's love for the game, or for video games in general, or for a community in general, in a way that I think keeps people loyal to those brands that allow them to do that.
Yep.
I mean, that's how YouTube grew into the monster that it is. That's how Twitch did the same thing, and you have Fortnite as well.
Mm-hmm. And now, like, it's all about like building these communities. I mean, half the time, a lot of our players don't even necessarily care about what the environment is that they're playing a game in, as long as the game is fun and they're able to just joke around and have fun with their friends and laugh, and it just be a fun, enjoyable experience. They like, sometimes they just genuinely don't care what it looks like, which is really funny because I come from more of the artistic side, and I constantly conflicting with some of our programmers, and they're more game driven, and like, no, the gaming is what matters and the fun is what matters, and they are right in that sense that if as long as you give them something fun and a place to hang out with other like-minded people, they're gonna use their imagination and make the best of it.
100%.
It's kind of like an analog of being outside and like using sticks to sword fight, right? Like, it doesn't really matter what the environment looks like as long as it's facilitated creatively.
Or the sticks, for that matter. You don't need like the best world-class replica training sword. You just need a stick and somebody to have a good time with, right? Like my kid's 12, right? And he plays a bunch of video games, lots of VR, lots of all this stuff. And it really, like, a lot of like, well, what game do you play the most? Like, oh, well, we sit in like, there's some called like Rec Room and another thing called VR Chat, right? It's like, they're literally just places work. They're community driven, like sub maps and things in there, and they just hang out. A lot of times they're just talking shit, laughing and being stupid. Like, they're not actually even playing a game. Like, they're just interacting in a digital world, hanging out in a metaverse. And they don't call it a metaverse. No one says metaverse in the space. Like, that's like that's like a boomer in a suit's like, oh, we need a metaverse for our thing. Right. Like, we're gonna sell more things to these young kids. Well, like, nobody calls it a metaverse in the space, no matter even like what we're doing. But it's like it's really interesting. And then when you look back on the like development of humankind as a species, right? Like, how we came from like this lowly, like, middle of the food chain creature that got eaten by a lot of shit to like the top of the food chain and dominate the whole fucking world. It's all about community, right? That's the thing we've done better than any other species on the planet, is build community and language and be able to tell stories and be able to interact and things of that. And that all kind of stems all the way back. That's still what our longing is, what our nature is to build and find our community and support each other, right? So like, it's very human, very individual. You just tap into that, and it's these are very. I wonder on what level some of this was like accidental discoveries, and what level people were like, no, if we put this there, it'll happen, right? Like,
yeah. I think there's a real like psychology behind it. I mean, like,
oh yeah,
you're as a young child, you struggle with your identity and discovering yourself, and all of these outsiders start putting things in your head, and you're trying to discover yourself, right? And when you're on a computer, you're in your own little space, you're in your own bubble, it's safe. So you can interact and then be yourself in a safe environment and get in contact with other people that are feeling very similar. And gamers just know how to connect with each other. And I mean, it's been like that for years. And I think it's now just like more people are realizing like it's the audience that really you need to get in touch with is the gaming audience, because that we know community like really well. We've always known community. My gaming friends are the friends that I've been friends with the longest. And that's really special. I mean, some of my friends now I would have never met if I didn't play a video game with them. And that's magical to me. It's really, really cool.
It's totally, I see that. So I made friends in a similar fashion growing up, like I said, playing all these online RPGs and stuff in the 90s. When that was like, I have to patch my game for 15 hours, like tying up the phone line. Nobody could even call the house. Like my mom loved
I did that with World of Warcraft as well.
Yep.
Oh, yep. Yes.
And but my kid now, like he's got friends all over the planet, right? That's beautiful. Like I can't imagine where that goes in another 2-3 generations, where people are like, wait, why are we going to war with this country? I got 15, 20 friends over there. This is some bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? And I think gaming in communities like this has the ability to heal some of that in this world.
I agree.
At least be the antithesis to like greed driving all this war and insanity. But, I was curious, like, what was the first community that you really got involved in that was a web-based kind of video game community?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I did a little bit of the modding Sims, the mod community. I love the custom content in Sims. But for me, I really struggled with self-esteem growing up. So I was very reclusive, hidden who I was. I was your behind the screen champion. But it wasn't until the Fortnite community, FCHQ specifically, their founder, John, reached out to me on Reddit early days. One of my games was doing really well on his website. It was one of the only websites that you could promote what you were doing in Fortnite on. And I got a message from him on Reddit. It was like, hey, I'm wanting to start a team. You seem like somebody who'd be really good as a leader on this team. And I don't know what made me decide to say yes, because it was not like me to say yes. But I'm so glad that I said yes. Because it really was my stepping stone into unlocking me and really showing myself to people slowly. And then when Epic reached out in 2019 to fly me down, I almost didn't go on that trip. I was at my heaviest, my weight. I've struggled with weight my whole life and just really did not feel confident enough to make an appearance and meet some of these amazing creators that I knew and was like, I'm going to meet some of these people in real life. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. So I almost said no. But John and my business partner and Simon, they both talked me into it. And were like, you know, you're going to regret this if you don't do it. And I got to talk to Simon every single day while I was at Epic. And it made it possible for me to feel comfortable being there by having my friends, from that FCHQ community. They showed up at Epic and spent the 3 weeks there and powered through all of my emotions and just the struggle of not having my safety bubble. I'm in real life now. Oh no. It was crazy. And then now, my journey of my own growth as a human and my self-confidence has improved an insane amount. And I'm appearing in person to so many things now, and I'm so proud of that. But I really owe all of it to that first community, FCHQ.
Well, that is beautiful. So that's a beautiful story, and good for you. Overcoming some of that stuff, especially like, as we all hunkered down in COVID. I'm sure someone who has a predisposition to not want to go out in public and got real comfortable being isolated, and then hey, now go speak at GDC. Like, I'm sure that was fucking nerve wracking. So like, that's such a growth journey. I love that. And I love that you can tie it all back into these video games that are going to ruin our minds and waste our lives. And like, it's like,
oh, seriously, if I could just talk to all the parents out there and just tell them, like, support your kid and really just let them find themselves and find some friends. It saved me. I know it saved me. It made me so much better by getting involved with some of these communities. And I understand the apprehension that a lot of parents have with it, but ultimately it can be a really safe and great space for a lot of people.
And a lot of it's changed as well. Like when we were kids, you sat in front of a television alone unless you were playing a competitive game, right?
Yep.
Which isn't healthy in general, right? Like when you really sit down and think about it. But now that sort of social media and YouTube and Twitch and online chats and VR rooms and all of this stuff has integrated into games so thoroughly. I mean, you could be on headset with somebody and you're both playing Dark Souls and you're not with each other in the game. You're just like communicating and enjoying the game together, right?
You're just going, fuck, I died again. I got that's just like 75 times. I've been here for 3 hours. One fight. Sorry, anyways, that was a Dark Souls rant.
True Dark Souls players don't actually show emotion when they die.
Shit, whatever.
We just hit stuff later. No,
hello.
Yeah, right. I've beat up my couch quite a bit. But no, but just in reality, like I think a lot more parents of, Gen Z and Gen Alpha and, and beyond, I think they're a lot more understanding of the value of these gaming communities because it's so much easier to see the community through the game.
Yeah.
You're not just sitting, it's not the equivalent of TV, right? Where you're just sitting in front of it and you're just like brain rotting for however many hours, right? Like most people who play games, I'm unfortunately not included in this because I don't play competitive games. But like most people who play games, they do it for the sense of community first.
Yeah.
Right. They do it to play with their friends. They do it to, if not compete, then cooperate in like a la like Destiny, with friends and to achieve a goal, which is not much different than any skill you would want in real life. And so I do think that there's a lot more visible value to it than there was when we were actually growing up. And hopefully that continues to, to convince people.
Yeah, my wife and I fell in love playing video games till 2-3 in the morning, eating pizza on the little couch co-op.
I love it.
Like that was just like, I was like, dude, this chick's smoking hot, and she likes video games. Like, oh my god, like yeah, I've been enamored ever since. That was 20 years ago. So like, it's super cool. And now we have a kid that's 12, and we all play video games together. We did it. A couple good sessions at Diablo 4 the other day, which was fun. And it's there's so much good things that can come through this new way of bringing people together, right? That's
100%.
what we're talking about. And it's not even new anymore, but like it's constantly evolving. And anyway, I made me think of this quote that like I saw on social media, one of the platforms, and it was like, I forget who said it, but they said, Fox News and CNN did to our parents what they always said video games and violent movies were going to do to us.
Exactly. No, it's so true. So many people focus on the negative side effects of it versus understanding all positives. Right. And it's slowly like the positives are becoming more relevant, and I think it's people speaking up about it. as much hate as Ninja gets, I think like he did so much for the gaming and influencer community by going on Jimmy Fallon and Ellen and really exposing the other side of it. Oh, did we lose me?
Nope. I mean, I didn't.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I think it's crazy like how much it was in our faces when we were growing up. Like, this is so unhealthy for you. You know, you're gonna just rot away on your couch. But I'm so much healthier of a person now than I would be without gaming. And I mean, obviously, you got to make sure you're balancing things. But
yeah,
but there's so many positives and so many pros that they really need to shine the light on more.
Yeah, I mean, one of the, I think maybe the first memory I have of like spending time with my family, like one of the earliest memories that I can actually envision through my eyes and not through like photos I've seen, is playing Mario 64 and Zelda Ocarina of Time with my parents. Like, they would help me through the puzzles and stuff like that, right? Like, there's so many people who bond over these games that it isn't about the content of the game as much as it is about the experience you get from it. And that's one of the reasons why it's one of the reasons why I don't play competitive games, is because I get a negative experience out of it for me, right? Like, I feel sort of way about the way that I perform inside of competitive games, but the reason I play video games is to experience a story, right? It's to experience. It's similar to playing an interactive film, right?
Yeah.
And I analyze films the same way that I analyze games. I'm the creative director of Epic Made. I'm into making these stories on an advertising level or on an entertainment level, and so it's hard to turn it off.
Yeah.
But
I understand.
I love playing games and like trying to think about like, oh, why did the writers do that? Why did the developers decide to have this ability? I wonder if that'll come into play later, and et cetera, et cetera. And I think that if you play games for one of those two things, for education or for community, you're growing way faster than if you were just sitting on your phone watching TikToks.
Absolutely.
And so I definitely think that it's, in the long run, a better thing than casual social media, which I think too many people are willing to lose themselves to nowadays compared to video games.
Just scrolling ad videos and softcore, people exploiting their bodies, like whatever.
On that note,
right?
We are coming up on time, but before we wrap, we did have one last question for you, Mackenzie. Is there anyone or anything in your career that you'd like to shout out to the audience that you haven't already kind of sung the praises to? It might be a valuable mentor, a resource, a favorite client, just something the audience can look up.
Yeah, I think I mentioned them a little bit, but I definitely want to shout out fchq.io. They are an incredible community for all creators and new developers coming into UEFN, and they really care. And it's hard to find those people that really care. So that's a community I would definitely look into.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And a big shout out to the LinkedIn community, which is where we first connected. I think we actually DM'd you randomly to interview you for an article we had on our blog, and then we started chatting, and here we are on the podcast. So
yeah, I love it.
for participating in all the things we're doing out there. So
no, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Yeah. And we have been talking with Mackenzie Jackson, who is the CEO and co-founder of Alliance Studios. You can check out their website at alliancestudios.gg, which is hilarious. But if listeners want to follow up with you directly, obviously they can go to LinkedIn. Is there anywhere else that they can reach you?
Yeah, you can get me on Twitter at MacJackTwitch.
Heck yeah. Love it.
All right, bro. Thanks, Mackenzie, and thank you so much for being on the show. And until next time, we'll see everybody.
Thank you.
We really hope you enjoyed the show. Please like and subscribe to join us on our next journey through the world of art and business on the Pixel Retentive Podcast.